You know that itch in your chest, the one that twitches every time a moment stretches longer than your attention span. The seconds thicken, your thumb gravitates to the screen, and you tell yourself you're checking something. But you and I both know what's happening. You're rerunning from the stillness that would force you to see who you really are. If you feel called out, good, this is a conversation you don't get on your feed. The quiet, almost embarrassing secret of high achievement and deep character. Not the dopamine fireworks, not the hacks. The truth is simpler and more brutal. The people you admire are boring for a very long time. They are boring on purpose. And the paradox is that their boring daily choices make them unforgettable. Today, I want to take you into that paradox, through your own habits, through psychology, and through one of philosophy's most misunderstood voices, Friedrich Nietzsche. Not the meme version, the Nietzsche who believed becoming is a craft, not a mood. The Nietzsche who understood that greatness is less a lightning bolt and more a furnace, fed, day after day, by the wood of routine, solitude, and yes, boredom. Let's begin with a story you tell yourself about why you aren't where you want to be. Maybe you think it's because you lack the right opportunity, the right gear, the right mentor, the right moment of inspiration. But listen closely. It's not the big obstacles that keep most people stuck. It's the inability to tolerate uneventful, unglamorous, unshareable days. You want to be impressive, but you don't want to be bored. You want the outcome of a monk and the lifestyle of a nightclub. You want the book on the shelf, without the hours of rereading a single paragraph until the sentence clicks. You want the physique, without the Tuesday afternoons when the gym is half empty, the music is bad, and you still have to pick up the weight. And this is where Nietzsche steps in with a kind of merciless compassion. He didn't believe you were a passive victim of your moods. He believed in the will to shape yourself, an energy that doesn't just react to life's chaos, but presses into it with form. If the raw material of your life is scattered, shallow, flighty, if attention is always leaking, then the first act of self-creation is not a grand gesture. It is the small decision to hold your focus through boredom, to sit, to stay, to finish, to return. Psychology has a clinical term for what you're tasting when you try. Hedonic habituation. Novelty spikes your dopamine, then fades. Your brain, efficient, lazy, brilliant, stops paying attention to what it repeatedly sees. In a world machine-optimized to give you novelty every second, the discomfort you feel when nothing is happening isn't a bug. It's conditioning. Your nervous system is calibrated to micro-thrills, and the average day, even a good one, doesn't compete. But here is the paradox. The algorithm doesn't advertise. The deeper forms of pleasure, mastery, intimacy, wisdom, do not reveal themselves to seekers of fireworks. They reveal themselves to people who can survive the dim hallway between sparks. If you can tolerate the unexceptional day, the unimaginative lunch, the training session that feels flat, the paragraph that won't love you back, you unlock a compounding curve that most people will never see. Imagine two roads. On the first road, every hour screams stimulation, diversion, novelty. It's exciting, it's loud, it's expensive, and it leaves you with almost nothing to show for it. On the second road, every hour whispers repetition, attention, iteration. It's quiet, it's ordinary, it's sometimes lonely, and it leaves you with something that will outlive you. Which road is impressive? Not the one you can photograph. Let's put flesh on this. A young violinist decides to rise above average. She is not a prodigy. Her tone is flawed, her intonation drifts, and her right hand tightens when the piece asks for ease. Her coach asks her to practice long tones, a single note, held perfectly steady, minute after minute. If you don't play an instrument, that sounds like a purgatory of dullness. But here's the secret. Long tones are a mirror. They expose the tremors in your technique. They reveal where your attention breaks. And they train something you cannot fake, the capacity to hear yourself without looking away. Months pass. Audiences see effortless grace. They clap for the fireworks. They have no idea they are applauding 1,000 boring afternoons. Or think of the runner who doesn't chase personal records every weekend. He repeats the same loop, steady, nearly meditative. Pace by pace, he teaches his body to burn fuel cleanly, to recover faster, to quiet the chatter of the mind when it asks to quit. The outside world measures only the race time. He measures the mind he is building inside the monotony. This is not anti-ambition. It is ambition with discipline. A difference that the internet rarely explains because discipline doesn't sell. Nietzsche called this kind of living a form of self-overcoming, not the dramatic heroism of a single moment, but a quiet rejection of your own worst habits, again and again, until your very taste for life is different. He believed that the real test of your values is whether you would live the same life again, moment by moment, if you had to. Not because every moment is amazing, but because the patterns you choose dignify the ordinary. That idea, often called the eternal recurrence, is not a cosmic riddle. It's as a mirror question. Are your days arranged in a way you could respect on repeat? If not, the solution is not to add more spectacle. It's to adjust the pattern. Here's the twist that might sting. We chase interestingness because we are terrified of being average. And we're terrified of being average because our culture has confused attention with worth. So we reach for noise to convince ourselves we are alive. But interestingness is a poor metric for a life. Plenty of lives are interesting and hollow, full of motion, empty of growth. Meanwhile, the lives that age into a rare gravity, the mentors you never forget, the artists you return to, the athletes whose tapes you study, those lives are built from habits that would bore a camera. Nietzsche, walking the same mountain paths in the Swiss Alps, did not apologize for his rituals. He wore grooves into the landscape, and the landscape wore grooves into him. The same lines recited, the same paragraphs reorganized, the same thoughts revisited, until they clarified like a lake after a storm. Repetition wasn't an enemy of originality. It was its midwife. He stripped distractions to make room for a mind that could carry weight. When he wrote about amor fati, loving one's fate, he wasn't romanticizing suffering. He was saying, stop waiting for life to be better before you show up fully. Show up, then watch life answer. Now, if your stomach tightens at the word boring, consider what boredom actually is. It's not punishment. It's a neurochemical winter, a period where nothing blooms because the soil is being replenished. Boredom is the moment when excitement is low and options feel thin, and yet, those are the conditions under which you can finally choose for yourself, instead of being yanked by stimuli. If you can remain, your focus thickens, your taste refines. You stop asking, is this fun right now? And start asking, is this worthy of me? That question will rewire your life. And let's be adult about this. Boredom is not the same as burnout. Burnout is the collapse that comes from pleasing everyone and resting never. Boredom is often a gentle signal that depth is approaching. What feels flat today might be your nervous system resisting the friction of growth. There's a difference between a life that needs more color and a mind that needs more courage. Let's go deeper into the mechanics of the paradox. First, boredom is a filter. If a project can't survive 10 dull sessions, it won't deserve the spotlight of one brilliant session. The work that matters will stretch through drab hours, and your willingness to meet it there is the price of admission. Second, boredom is a forge. It burns off amateur cravings for constant recognition. When applause is absent and you still return, you are converting fragile ego into durable identity. You stop being someone who does the thing for looks. You become the person who does the thing because it is the kind of thing you do. Third, boredom is a teacher. It instructs you in rhythm, in maintenance, in the seasonal quality of progress. It says, some days you sow, some days you tend, some days you harvest, and most days you clean the tools and show up again tomorrow. The algorithm wants every day to be harvest, but farmers know better. Nietzsche would call this the wisdom of the body, the intelligence of cycles, and the modern world has forgotten it. So how do you live this paradox without drifting into a joyless grind? By crafting rituals that preserve your humanity while you court monotony. Start by choosing a single boring metric that matters, not a fantasy outcome. Be famous, go viral, earn 6 figures, but a daily input you can control. A page counted, a mile logged, a call made, a scale practiced, a code block compiled. Then bind it to a time and a place, as if it were a standing appointment with someone you respect. Because it is. It's an appointment with the future version of you. You're going to fail some days. Nietzsche would not be surprised. The point is to recommit without drama. To show yourself that the interruption is not an identity. Recovery is the identity. Watch how that mindset changes your posture toward setbacks. They become signals, not verdicts. Next, reduce one source of cheap novelty, not forever, but as an experiment in taste. If your attention is a scarce resource, spend it on the craft that loves you back. Replace the infinite scroll with a finite loop. Read one book deeply, replay one match, and study the footwork. Trace the same drawing a dozen times, and notice, to your surprise, that the lines begin to breathe. Humans are ritual animals. Give your boredom a frame. Light a candle when you begin. Walk the same 5 minutes before the session. Put your phone in another room. Pour the same cup of tea. These ceremonial touches are not superstition. They're signals to your nervous system that we are entering the forge now. Over time, your body cooperates faster. This is how mastery becomes less effortful, not by removing effort, but by orchestrating it. And when the mind starts to whine, this is tedious, this is slow, this is beneath me. Answer like a craftsperson. It is not beneath me to build the foundation that will carry me. Excellence is not a magic trick. It is the consequence of making peace with the interval between starting and shining. Does this mean entertainment is evil? No. It means entertainment should be dessert, not your diet. It means you refuse to outsource your identity to the trends of the week. Nietzsche warned against the herd, the tendency to let collective moods define individual values. In our era, the herd is not just people, it's feeds, dashboards, analytics, the buzz that pulls your life into 1,000 small performances. To step away, to choose a long path that few applaud until the end, will feel like social disobedience. That discomfort is a good sign. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Most people don't want to be great. They want to feel like they're on the path to greatness without paying the toll. They want the story, not the monotony. They crave public struggle, the montage, the grit, the medals, while ignoring private repetitions that sculpt the outcome. That's why boredom is your strategic advantage. It's the toll booth that keeps the road clear. If you can pay in calm hours, you move faster precisely because fewer people are willing to enter. Let me tell you about Maya, a designer who felt stuck in the middle of her career, stuck with ideas that felt recycled. She decided, almost as a joke, to draw one wheel every day, just a circle with spokes. The first 10 were uneven. The next 50 were clean. After 100, they started to vary in texture and line weight. She made wheels out of dots and threads and geometric errors. Somewhere around day 200, her colleagues noticed that her layouts flowed differently. Tension and balance emerged. No one knew it was the wheels. That's the point. The visible excellence was built from invisible boredom. By the end of the year, she launched a series of posters that won awards. She didn't become a different person. She became more fully herself by tending a small ritual. Bored, then brilliant. Or consider Omar, a junior lawyer who dreaded writing. He decided to spend 20 minutes each morning rewriting a single paragraph from a legal brief, just one. For months he wrote and threw away more words than he kept. His friends called it overkill. He kept going. Eventually, judges started quoting his briefs in their opinions. The firm promoted him, not because his mornings were flashy, but because his sentences could carry weight. The ritual was unglamorous. The results were not. You might say, fine, but my life is chaotic. I don't have the luxury of boredom. I hear you. Many responsibilities are non-negotiable. But there is a slice of your day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that you currently give to the god of novelty, which could quietly become an altar to becoming. It won't look like much. That's the point. Consistency that fits into your real life beats intensity that burns and vanishes. And here's the philosophical spine of why this matters. Nietzsche believed that values are not things you believe. They're things you embody, not slogans, but stances. If you value strength, your calendar will show it. If you value wisdom, your habits will broadcast it. If your days are filled with frantic input, then regardless of what you claim, you value stimulation. You can change your values by changing your rituals. When your rituals become calm and boring in the right places, your life becomes formidable in the places that matter. Let me give you a lens to test your day. Where do you allow yourself to be unobserved? Where do you practice in secret with no audience and no scoreboard? Where do you allow time to be slow? Those are the sites of future power. If your answer is nowhere, then your life is all shop window and no workshop. It's time to build a back room. At this point, some will worry that embracing boredom will kill creativity. It will not. It will starve your creative anxiety, the panicked need to be original on the first try, and feed your creative patience. Think of a blacksmith heating the same piece of metal, hammering, cooling, returning it to the fire. The blows look repetitive, but the blade that emerges is one of a kind. Your mind works the same way. You don't protect creativity by keeping yourself entertained. You protect it by giving it a structure within which it can deepen. Here is a simple practice to begin tonight. Choose one craft you care about. Define the smallest meaningful unit of daily practice for it, something you could do even when tired. Pair it with a fixed time, a fixed place, and a short ritual to begin. Then, crucially, measure only the doing, not the outcome. For 30 days. This will feel insultingly modest. Good. It means you are finally building on bedrock. You will notice, about halfway through, that what was boring at day 1 becomes strangely nourishing at day 15. You start to crave the quiet. The ritual becomes a sanctuary from the noise. You become dangerous. Will people call you boring? Maybe. They will say you don't go out much, that you're predictable, that your life is small. Smile. They are watching your surface. They cannot see the city you're building underground, foundations that will hold a cathedral. The world is full of people who look interesting and collapse under pressure. Be the person who looks ordinary and becomes unbreakable. And when you doubt, return to Nietzsche's challenge. Can you arrange your life such that, if you had to, you would live it all again? Not because every moment is thrilling, but because the pattern itself is worthy. If your answer is no, do not wait for a bolt of inspiration. Craft a routine that dignifies your aims. Boredom is not an exit sign. It is an entrance into a chamber where attention is yours again, where you become the sculptor of your hours, not their spectator. Let's end where we began, with that itch in your chest. The next time it rises, don't scratch it, don't flee, breathe, name it. This is the doorway. Sit down and choose one thing, just one, to do without interruption, not because anyone is watching, not because it will post well, because you are quietly changing the rules of your own life. In a year, people will ask how you did it. They will assume there was a trick, a hack, a secret summit where the successful pass around a golden list of shortcuts. You will smile again, maybe say something polite, and end the conversation, not out of arrogance, but out of reverence for the truth. The secret was smaller and steadier than anyone wants to admit. You were boring, then you became dangerous. And if you want one last picture to carry with you, imagine a bamboo grove. For years, nothing seems to happen. Underground, roots knit a lattice strong enough to withstand storms. Then one season, the stalks shoot up so fast, you swear you can hear them grow. People call it sudden. It wasn't. It was boring until it wasn't. That's the paradox. That's your path. Go build your roots, because the world does not need more interesting people. It needs people whose ordinary days are arranged with such integrity that when the moment comes, when a crisis hits, when a door opens, when a responsibility demands a steady hand, they can be trusted. That kind of person isn't born from spectacle. They are forged in the plain hours. They become the quiet ones others look to when everything noisy falls apart. Let them keep the fireworks. You keep the furnace. And when you walk back into your life after this video, don't promise yourself a grand reinvention. Promise yourself one boring act today, and another tomorrow, and another after that. Watch how the air around you changes. Watch how your mind stops begging for crumbs of distraction and starts asking better questions. Watch how your work, your relationships, your sleep, even your sense of time, begin to obey a calmer rhythm. That's the final twist. Boredom, properly used, is not the absence of life. It's the presence of a life you can actually feel. A life that accumulates, a life that holds. Be boring, become impressive. The world will not understand at first. That's fine. Greatness rarely announces itself. It arrives in the quiet, one ordinary day at a time, until, one morning, you wake up and realize that the person you wanted to be has been living your schedule for months. You didn't meet them at a concert. You met them at your desk. You found them on a run you didn't want to take. You shook their hand in the middle of a paragraph, and you never let go. If that image lingers after this ends, let it haunt you in the best way. Let it pull you back to your ritual when the itch returns. There will be days you fail. There will be days you want to trade your path for applause. But if you can hold to the pattern, even loosely, you will become the kind of person whose calm is louder than other people's noise. Bored but dangerous, ordinary but unstoppable, uninteresting to watch, unforgettable to meet. That is the paradox. That is your invitation.